Hello guys, I'm Aditya from Department of Biotechnology. Today we are going to learn C programming in VS Coda. Okay, bacterial growth simulation is finding bacterial growth simulation is a typical process, but using C programming it's a easy process as compared to normal method. Okay, let's begin the code. Here hashtag include uh, stdio.h. This means standard input and output library is imported in the header line. Next line hashtag include stdlib.h. This imports standard library and then hashtag include time.h. Here the time.h refers to data which related to time, and then here we are using a hashtag define size and hashtag define step. These are uh, user friendly value to know what is size and steps. And then here we are getting void display grid, and then this is a function block, we are skipping into main function. Here int main, this is the initial line of the program, and then we are initializing grid size 2 cross 2 array as character data type. And then here we are using srand to verify whether the time is null. And then here we are using nested for loop. Initially int I is equal to 0, we are verifying, we are running the loop of I is equal to 0. Within the loop we are using for j is equal to 0. Since this is a nested loop, it verifies the code and runs progressively. Now once the nested loop terminates, it enters into another loop which contains for loop int I is equal to 0 and int uh, which runs the code until the condition I lesser than size divided by 2 is successfully reached. After the function for loop gets terminated, printf will be executed. This printf refers to population infection simulation. After this printf, we will get a for loop. This for loop is very crucial. Here we are using int step of 1, and then it increases by a value by 1. After that, here display grid is a function call which calls the function above in the code. Here in this function we are getting value provided by the user, and then here once the function is called, we encounter a nested for loop in the condition. Once the nested for loop runs, the value for grid of I and then j will be printed. Once the j is terminated, slash n will be printed due to the run of for int I loop. Similarly, this loop runs until the size reaches its final value. Once the values once the function is done, it returns to the main block again. After that, we have separate infection, another function call, so it moves back to the function block again. And then now here void spread infection will be executed. Here we have nested for loop similar to this. Here for yearly we got grid of I of j. So this value will be shifted to temp of I of j, and then again a nested for loop will be encountered in which if grid of I of j equal to x, if the condition results true, then dx, here int dx is an array which will contain a value -1 0 1. If and then d of y will be 0 -1 0. After this execution of if block, for loop will be executed. Here we are using a new integer k which is equal to 0, and then k will be lesser than k plus plus, and then int n of ij I plus d of x of k, and then int n of j equal to j plus dy of k, and then if block will be executed. Here this if block verify whether the n of I is greater is greater than as is negative, or else it is lesser than the size. Similarly here the and block will be and condition will be verified, and then rand function will be used to change the variable. After this function call, printf will be printed, and then the simulation complete will be printed, and then again the final state will be printed. After that display grid will be printed, and then this is a function call, so we are moving into the function. This code enters the code again. So here void display grid will be executed here. As we have really seen, a nested for loop will be executed, and then the grid of I of j will be printed, and then the loop terminates. After the loop, return 0 will be used to terminate the function, and then code will be executed. Let's debug the code. Here we have let's gcc simulation.c. Here we have some error, so let's debug the error. Here return 0 should have semicolon, and then grid of display function call should have semicolon, and then let's run the code again. gcc simulation.c. Here we have some error. Let's debug the code. gcc simulation.c. Now dot slash a dot txt extension is used to run the code. See here, we have got the code. This is the final state of the simulation. While running the for loop, here we have different output state in the function. Okay. Through this method, we can find the final state of a bacterial simulation using C programming. Thank you.